Once upon a time, there was a man who looked on Christmas as a bit of a humbug. He really wasn't as bad as Ebenezer Scrooge, but he was pretty bad. He was a nice and decent person, always generous to his family, worked every single day. He was upright in his community with other men. But he didn't believe anything at all about Jesus becoming a man, that God would actually come and become a man. And he was too honest to pretend that he did. So he said to his wife, I hate to really peeve you off, but I'm not going to go to midnight mass with you because I simply cannot understand the claim that God became man. Doesn't make any sense to me. It's crazy talk. And on Christmas Eve, his wife and kids went to church for the midnight mass, but he did not go with them. He says, I'll be a hypocrite if I do, but I'll wait up for you. And shortly after his family drove away in the car, snow started to come down a little by little. He went to the window and watched the flurries, and they were getting heavier and heavier. If we must have Christmas, he thought, we may as well have a white one. He went back to his chair and to his pipe by the fireside and started to read his newspaper. A few minutes later, he was startled by a sound on his window. He said, what in God's name is this? So he ran outside, and one after another, there were birds, maybe 50 of them, who hit the side of the house and fell down, and they were flapping around in the snow. They got lost, I guess, in the storm. So he went to the door and investigated a little bit more, and they were huddled together, miserable. I can't let these poor creatures lie here. They'll get frozen through the night. He thought, how can I help them? What way can I help them? Then he remembered the barn. The kid had a pony in the barn. So he went out to the barn and he lit the light in the barn. Then he lit another light. It was quite bright. He said, at least they'll fly in and it'll give them some warm shelter. So he put on his coat and his boots and trampled through the deepening snow to the barn. Opened the big, big doors of the barn. But the birds didn't come in. Oh my God, how am I going to get these birds in here? He said, well, we have 2 loaves of bread that have gone stale. So he went into the house and he started throwing the bread around, and they still didn't come in. To his dismay, he ignored those breadcrumbs. He tried shooing them, and then they started to fly in every possible direction as he waved his arms around. They went in every direction, of course, but that lit barn. He said to himself, they must find me kind of strange. Some kind of a terrifying creature to them. Something too big for them to trust, he said to himself. And I can't seem to think of any better way than have them trust me. I can't think of a way that they would trust me. But if only I could be a bird myself. For a few minutes, I could be a bird. I could lead them probably to safety. They trust me. Just at that moment, the church bells began to ring and chime throughout the small valley he lived in. He stood silent for a while on that silent night, listening to the bells pealing one after another, the glad tidings that Christmas finally had come. And he sank to his knees in the snow, realizing now he understood. He whispered out to God, now I see why you had to do it this way. Amen.